Medic is one of those classes in TF2 that everyone wants on their team but few people choose to play. And that makes sense. Medic can be incredibly frustrating to play as. Sometimes you will die even when you do everything right, but the times when you do well as Medic can feel incredible. So here are some tips on how to play Medic. The first thing to note is because Medic really isn't a power class, the metric you should use to see your performance is your assist count and your team's average health. If their health is low, consider that you might need to change something. If it's high, you should keep it up. Every once in a while, just look behind you. You're a big target for ambush classes like Scout and especially Spy, and by checking behind you, you can minimize your deaths from these sources. In this engineer clip, I'm leaving spawn, and as I do so, I get the suspicion of, what if someone's behind me? And what do you know? A Spy was about to get the freest backstab of his life. Another part of this is to never stop moving. It sounds simple, but a lot of people forget it, and it will be a lot harder for your enemy to hit you if you are constantly moving around. Especially against snipers, which would be constantly trying to take you down. Another thing to note is that Medic matches the speed of their heal target, so healing a Scout when coming from spawn can make your rollout a lot faster. Heal everyone. Don't just pocket a single person. If you see someone putting in work, then of course dedicate yourself to a push or two, but always remember that everyone needs heals. Consider if your healing will help more by healing everyone around you or just your pocket. I beg new medics to at least heal others when their pocket is not in combat. There are so many medics I see that will just run by a 12 HP player to go heal a full health soldier or heavy. The final thing to note is to not get angry. As a medic, you're going to die a lot, sometimes not by your own fault. It will feel like your team isn't supporting you at times. The main way you can combat this is by being active in voice chat. Tell people when you are getting attacked or when you have an Uber. But don't be angry when talking. Your teammates aren't likely to help you if you are screaming at them. Moving on from tips, I will get into some of the more complex things you need to know as a medic. Critical heals are a mechanic in TF2 that isn't commonly talked about. How they work is that if your heal target was hurt less than 10 seconds ago, you will heal at the normal rate of 24 HP per second. From 10 to 15 seconds, you will heal at an increased rate of 72 in a linear increase. So what you need to know is that for the first 10 seconds after damage, healing is normal, but after 15 seconds, healing is 3 times more effective. This doesn't normally come into play in casual, but is good to note so that you can more effectively heal your teammates. Surfing is basically just rocket jumping on Medic. You might be wondering how that's possible since Medic can't deal explosive damage. Basically, if you see an enemy rocket, pill, or whatever coming towards you, just jump. You will go flying, hopefully into your teammates. So all that is great, but what about Uber? While this changes for each Medigun, something I'll get into later, an Uber is 8 seconds of invincibility that Medic can use after filling up his Uber charge by healing teammates. So when to use it? There are 3 times you should use an Uber. When your team is pushing into an enemy stronghold, holding a control or choke point from an enemy push, or when you are about to die. Remember that using Uber is better than you dying because a dead Medic can't heal their teammates. Also, don't just hold on to Uber forever, waiting for a perfect moment. An Uber that takes out 2 enemies is better than one that you lose because you waited until a Spy got the chance to backstab you. You might be wondering what is a good time to push. Generally, a medic won't be the one spearheading a push, they'll be behind the person doing it. But good times to push are when an enemy engineer nest has gone down, when you have full Uber, or when there are lots of enemy players dead, which you can see at the top of your screen. Grayed out players are waiting to respawn. What are bad times to push? When lots of your teammates are dead or at low health, which you can also see at the top. And if you don't have Uber, against a fortified enemy engineer nest. Once you have pushed forward, especially with Uber, it's good to know when to cut your losses and run. If you have pushed far ahead of an objective, it's good to fall back so that you can support your team, especially on defense. Basically, if you don't see your team around you and your Uber is running short, it's better for you to leave your pocket to fend for themselves than for you to die and be unable to heal your teammates. Like in this clip where I successfully pushed forward with this pyro, only to die because my team couldn't support me so far ahead. Now that you're pushing forward, who should you Uber? Generally, a soldier and demo are your best bets. Heavy can be powerful on points, but he generally isn't able to take advantage of an Uber because of his slow speed. Pyro can do well, but he can't do anything against sentries or long-range classes. If Engineer is using the Frontier Justice and it's glowing, ask him how many crits he has. If it's over 4, then Ubering him will be a good idea. Only Uber other classes in an emergency. Another thing you can do is click tab and check who's doing the best on your team. Also look at their hats. More experienced players generally have lots of cosmetic items. Use these tips to pick an Uber target. Once you have chosen an Uber target, tell them something like, "I have Uber, tell me when to pop." Wait for them to tell you the best time for them to push, so that both of you can take full advantage of the Uber. So with all of that drilled into your prefrontal cortex, what weapons should you be using? Starting with the Mediguns. Stock is, well, stock. Its uber is invincibility, which is good especially for pushing through choke points. Being invincible never hurts. The Kritzkrieg replaces normal uber with faster charging guaranteed crits to your heal target. It can be good on defense, but it's harder to take advantage of because any enemy that can will be gunning for you. The quick fix heals at a 40% faster rate, has a faster charging uber charge that increases the heal rate for 3 times normal for both the medic and their heal target. The medic also matches the blast jumps or shield charges of their heal target, which helps a lot because of the trend of soldiers just leaving you when you uber them. For some reason. I can't find a clip for this one, but I swear it happens all the time. The Vaccinator is both the most overpowered and worst of all of Medic's Mediguns. Its uber charges faster and you have 4 short ubers instead of 1 long one. By pressing reload, you switch through damage resistances, explosion, fire, and bullet damage. Normally it gives a 10% reduction to these damage types, but with uber that jumps to 75% reduction. It's good against single opponents, but falls apart under focus fire because you can't stop all of the damage types. Medic's primaries are an interesting case because one of them is really good and the rest are just okay. The syringe gun has a rapid fire rate with horrible projectile speed. It has bad damage unless you are a master at aiming with it, and your projectiles can be absorbed by your teammates, making it even harder to defend yourself with it. The Blutsaga reduces self-healing by 2 in exchange for 3 HP on hit. It isn't bad, but it reduces your sustainability for an upside that most medics won't be able to take advantage of. The Overdose has a 15% damage penalty, but you gain speed based on your uber charge, with a max speed up of 20%. The speed boost can be nice to have, but isn't enough to beat out the Crossbow, which fires a single shot bolt that heals teammates on hit, and its damage and healing scale over distance, which can lead to some crazy shots. Much like Medic's primaries, Medic's melees have one unlock that everyone uses over the other. The Bone Saw, the stock melee, is bad, see my stock weapons video. The Uber Saw gives 25% uber on hit with only a 20% firing speed decrease, making it undoubtedly the best medic melee in most situations. The Vitasaw makes it so on hit you gain organs, which on death allow you to save 15% of your uber charge for when you respawn. It's not bad, but it can't compete with other medic melees that help him not die. The Amputator has a 25% damage penalty in exchange for 3 more self-healing when it is active, and area of effect healing when taunting. The taunt healing can be helpful, but usually just ends up with you dying to the nearest spy. The Solemn Vow, it allows you to see enemy health values for a 10% decrease in firing speed. It can be useful for telling your pocket enemy HP, but otherwise for most people it will only be better than stock. Medic is one of those classes that seem simple but have a lot more under the surface. I hope this video was able to help you when playing Medic. I've included some community resources in the description if you are still looking for more information. All of the music in this video was made by my friend Connor Morgan. I've included a link to his band lab in the description, and I think y'all should check it out. He makes some really good stuff, and I think you'll agree. I quickly wanted to say thanks for all the views on the last video and reaching 100 subscribers. I did not think that that would happen that fast, if ever, so thank you. And yeah, if you haven't checked out the video already, there's a link up top somewhere. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Leave any opinions, questions, or ideas in the comments. Thank you. Goodbye.